Chapter 4104. The silhouette wanted to restrain him. But Wang Xian wanted to kill him, scheming against him. Moreover, the strength that Wang Xian had displayed was merely at the creation realm of heavenly yuan. This made the silhouette less wary of Wang Xian. Moreover, the experts from the Void Universe did not know Wang Xian's strength. They did not even know who the mastermind was. Under such circumstances, Wang Xian's sudden attack made the silhouette's expression change slightly. However, he did not let his guard down when facing Wang Xian. If Wang Xian discovered something and wanted to escape, he was prepared to strike immediately. But what he did not expect was that Wang Xian would attack him directly. "How dare you!" The silhouette was infuriated when he saw Wang Xian's attack. He had not even made a move and the other party dared to attack him, courting death. However, he was stunned the next moment. In front of him, another expert who had just entered the creation realm of heavenly yuan suddenly appeared and attacked him. In addition, a terrifying killing machine suddenly appeared above the guy who attacked him. This made his expression change drastically. An aura of death shrouded him. 3 against 1. No matter which universe it was, 2 against 1 might not be able to kill an opponent of the same level. But 3 against 1 was basically a one-sided slaughter. There was no way to resist at all. Even in the Nine-Source universe, experts could teleport back to their own holy kingdom. 3 against 1 could still kill an opponent of the same level. In other universes, it was even more so. "Unleash your strongest attack! Kill!" Wang Xian locked onto the silhouette, his eyes filled with murderous intent. When the spatial compass detected the experts from the Void Universe flying over, Wang Xian knew that the guy who wanted to make a deal with him was an expert from the Void Universe. Therefore, he could either flee immediately or kill him instantly. If he fled immediately, the other party might pursue and interfere. Therefore, Wang Xian chose to attack. Sneak attack. The other party did not know about the existence of the Qilin Bull and the 5 Elements Grindstone. Wang Xian wanted to kill him instantly when he had the absolute advantage. Let him die. Roar! Roar! The Qilin Bull let out a low roar as its horn radiated with terrifying power. Wang Xian stretched out his arm and transformed it into a dragon claw. Terrifying energy began to brew within. Berserk Dragon Star Blast. Up above, the 5 Elements Grindstone spun, emitting an aura of death. The 5 Elements Grindstone revolved, obliterating everything. Damn it! Seeing this, the light figure's expression changed greatly. His body shook, and the surrounding dark energy was absorbed into his body. His true appearance was revealed. His body was similar to that of a human, but his face was covered with black patterns, which looked very strange. There seemed to be an abyss in his deep black pupils. He held a round ball in his hand. Blood flowed from his palm into the black ball. A black barrier rose from the sphere and enveloped him completely. Boom, boom, boom! Boom, boom, boom! In an instant, streaks of terrifying energy landed on the black defense. The 2 consecutive attacks caused the defense to crumble. The last attack hit his body. Ka ka ka! His body cracked like glass, and the dense black patterns on his face began to dim. Die! Wang Xian's eyes were fixed on him as he dashed towards him. The dragon claw clawed at his head. Wang! You'd better watch out! Seeing Wang Xian's attack, the light figure revealed a hideous expression. He crushed the dark sphere in his hand. The dark sphere was shattered. His body gradually dissipated, and Wang Xian's dragon claw hit nothing but air. Huh! Is there a treasure that can help me escape? Wang Xian stared at him with glistening eyes. He clawed at the gradually disappearing darkness. Netherworld Dragon Pursuit! The Netherworld Dragon Pursuit. As long as Wang Xian locked onto his target, he would be able to instantly teleport over once the target escaped. This was the first time Wang Xian used this move. Of course, there was a limit to this move. If the other party could return to his own universe, Wang Xian wouldn't have enough energy for this move. However, the escape of the light figure wasn't to return to his own universe. Instead, it was a long-distance teleportation. When his figure disappeared, Wang Xian waved his arm and kept the unicorn and the 5 elements grindstone into the mother nest. His figure also gradually disappeared. Swish, swish, swish. Swish, swish, swish. The moment he disappeared, the 5 Sky Yuan Creation Realm experts from the Void Universe had already rushed over. When they saw Wang Xian's disappearing figure, their expressions changed. He escaped. He used a powerful treasure to escape. Duke Tianmen stared at the space needle in his hand and said with a grim expression, "The light figure seems to have suffered a powerful attack and escaped." Duke Xining sensed the surrounding energy and said, "In addition, the mastermind might not be one person. There are 2 auras of Sky Yuan Creation Realm experts here. Let's go in and give chase." Duke Tianmen's expression changed as he said, "One." At the same time, in the void far away, the light figure's body gradually appeared. At this moment, he looked extremely embarrassed. He had promised the experts from the Void Universe to help restrain a Sky Yuan Creation Realm expert. But now, the treasure he had obtained was not even comparable to the life-saving treasure he had just used. The life-saving treasure in his hand was extremely precious. Even for him, this was the only one. Damn it. I've suffered a great loss. I've suffered a great loss this time. That cunning guy actually has such powerful strength, and that terrifying treasure. His combat power is no weaker than that of a Sky Yuan Creation Realm expert. As he spoke, he was infuriated. Wang! At this moment, he suddenly felt the space behind him tremble. He felt as though something was staring at him and locking onto him. At this moment, his expression changed drastically. He hurriedly flew to the side and glanced behind him. Can you escape? Wang Xian's figure appeared. He stared at the light figure with a cold, murderous look on his face. You actually have a powerful tracking secret art. When the light figure saw Wang Xian, his expression changed drastically. Without any hesitation, he fled into the distance. I'll definitely kill you. The unbeginning sacred wings appeared behind Wang Xian, and he chased after him instantly. Swish, swish, swish! At the same time, the Qilin bull and the 5 elements grindstone flew out and surrounded the light figure. Shit! When the light figure saw this, his expression changed drastically again. His heart was beating violently. He quickly took out his communication device and sent a message to the experts in the Void Universe. Chapter 4105. Run, run, run. I must escape or I'll be dead. Otherwise, my losses this time will be too great. The light shadow fled desperately, his heart filled with impatience. He did not expect such a situation to occur. The expert from the Void Universe had ordered him to hold back an expert, but now this was the situation. It was a situation that almost caused him to perish. Even now, he could only continue to flee. Today I'll kill you! Wang Xian looked at the fleeing light shadow with a cold expression. The Qilin bull and the 5 elements grindstone had already begun to surround him. The unbeginning saint wings flapped, and Wang Xian's speed was faster than the light shadow. Just now, the light shadow had already suffered from the attack of the 5 elements grindstone, and was already seriously injured. Hence, his speed was somewhat reduced. Now, facing their pursuit, it would not take long for them to surround him. Moreover, the escape of the light shadow and his pursuit had also allowed him to shake off the experts from the Void Universe. The empty word compass could no longer show them. This meant that there was a considerable distance between the two parties. Run, run, run! The light shadow saw Wang Xian and the others chasing him at high speed. His forehead was covered with cold sweat, and he kept shouting. If he did not flee, he would really die. He fled desperately. Wang Xian and the others were chasing him rapidly, and attacks were constantly directed at him. Buzz! Buzz! Huh! What? The silhouette is now being hunted by the mastermind behind the scenes. The mastermind has 2 existences who have just entered the divine origin creation realm. They have a powerful treasure that can unleash the strength of a divine origin creation realm expert. At this time, the 5 experts from the Void Universe. The Duke of Tianmen received the message from the Light Shadow. When he saw this message, his expression changed slightly. The Light Shadow was attacked by the Mastermind just now, and escaped with the help of the treasure. The Mastermind chased after him with the treasure? 2 Creation Realm experts who have just entered the Creation Realm, and one of them has a weapon comparable to a Creation Realm expert. Is this a Creation Realm treasure? Duke Xining's eyes narrowed when he heard this. Almost. We have to rush over immediately. Otherwise, the Light Shadow might be killed. Besides, they are chasing after the Light Shadow. Let's go over and kill it, the Duke of Tianmen said coldly. Let's go, let's hurry over there. The rest of the Heavenly Yuan Creation Realm experts from the Void Universe answered immediately. They quickly flew in the direction of Wang Xian and the others. Mad Demon Shadow! It was located somewhere else. The Qilin Bull stared at the escaping figure in front of him. He lowered his speed and the runes around him started to transform and condense together. Phantoms of demon gods appeared and attacked the light silhouette at a terrifying speed. Sensing the attack from behind, the light figure gritted its teeth. Its body trembled, and it could only retaliate. The Qilin Bull's attack had caused his speed to decrease. The Light Shadow's resistance also caused his speed to decrease a little. However, Wang Xian and the 5 Elements Grindstone did not slow down at all. He continued to speed up as he approached the silhouette. 5 Elemental Transformation, Death Ocean! Wang Xian let out a low growl the moment the Light Shadow blocked the Qilin Bull. At the side, the great grindstone of 5 elements revolved and turned into water attribute energy. The water energy began to transform into a vast ocean, directly sweeping towards the silhouette. He had just blocked the attack of the Qilin Bull and now he had to face the attack of the great grindstone of 5 elements. I can't block anymore. Otherwise, I'll be caught up and completely entangled. I don't know when the experts from the Void Universe will arrive. Damn it! Seeing the attack of the great grindstone of 5 elements, the Light Shadow's expression was extremely ugly. Blood slowly flowed out of the black veins on his face. Large amounts of blood flowed out and covered the surface of his body. He had completely turned into a bloody person. He was depleting his vitality to escape. At this moment, this was the only way. 3 experts of the same level were chasing after him. One of them was attacking him. He could only slow down and block. Then, the other 2 would be able to catch up quickly. Now that the second one was attacking, if he continued to block, he would be completely entangled. Therefore, he could only block it head on. Block it head on. Swoosh! The endless sea of death swept towards him and landed on his body. It washed away his vitality. However, he did not have any scruples and did not block it. The blood on his body was washed away. His face started to turn pale. Dragon's Chain! Seeing this, Wang Xian's eyes narrowed. He entered the Death Ocean and made use of the power of the great grindstone of 5 elements to increase his speed. A chain appeared in her hand, and she threw it at him. This time, the Light Shadow could only defend against Wang Xian's chains. If he did not resist, he would be entangled. Then he would be finished. Bam bam bam! The Light Shadow released waves of energy that collided with the chain. The dragon's chain crumbled bit by bit. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. At this moment, Qilin Bull, who had paused after releasing his attack, caught up again, while Wang Xian and the Light Shadow collided and slowed down. He launched another attack towards the Light Shadow. It's over, it's over. I'm afraid I won't be able to wait for the experts from the Void Universe to arrive. Sensing the scene behind him, the Light Shadow revealed a look of despair on his face. There was no way to escape. 3 against 1. Under the circumstances where he was already injured, there was no way he could escape. He felt a little regretful. He regretted accepting the mission from the experts from the Void Universe. This time, he had suffered a huge loss. This time, he would need billions of years to recover completely. Roar! Roar! Wang Xian saw Qilin Bull flying over to continue his attack, and the light shadow was completely entangled. He let out a deep roar of a divine dragon. His body shook and transformed into his divine dragon form. His dragon tail swept towards the light shadow. Wang! At this moment, a message was sent from the space compass in the mother nest. The experts from the Void Universe had arrived. In just a minute, they had arrived. Their speed was extremely fast. I still have 3 seconds. 3 seconds is enough to annihilate you. Wang Xian stared at the light shadow with intense murderous intent. Trying to kill him. Helping the experts from the Void Universe to annihilate him. He would have to pay a terrible price. Rumble! The dragon tail swept across and landed directly on the body of the light shadow. The light shadow was severely injured instantly. The attacks of Qilin Bull and the 5 Elements Grindstone came one after another. Arg, I can't accept this! The silhouette roared with despair on its face. Wang Xian, Qilin Bull and the 5 Elements Grindstone flew in front of him at the same time. 5 Elements Extermination Grindstone. The Devil God energy of Qilin Bull. Wang Xian's dragon claws landed at the same time. Pfft. An unparalleled force landed on the light shadow. It broke through his defense and killed him. Chapter 4106. Damn it! Stop it! Kill him! The 5 Creation Realm experts from the Void Universe had just flown over when they saw Wang Xian and the rest killing the glowing shadow. Tianmen Duke and the rest were shocked as they roared. Space Attribute Experts! Their speed is really terrifying! Wang Xian's expression changed when he sensed the 5 Space Attribute Experts charging towards him. 5 experts from the Void Universe were almost undefeatable for Wang Xian and the rest. In particular, Wang Xian sensed that among the 5 experts from the Void Universe, there were 2 who were much stronger than them. There was no doubt that they were existences at the control level. Wang Xian waved his arm and kept the glowing shadow's corpse. A Creation Realm expert's corpse. Although it was not his core strength, most of the energy was instantly absorbed by the treasure he used to revive. However, the energy contained in this corpse was comparable to the 4 limbs of Aya Sky Demon God that had been chopped off. This was an absolute treasure. Run! Wang Xian bellowed at the Qilin Bull. Qilin Bull did not hesitate and entered the nest. Wang Xian kept the 5 Elements Grindstone and took out a space scroll with a flick of his palm. This escape scroll was obtained from the Void Pagoda. The space scroll could allow him to teleport a long distance in an instant. Originally, this space scroll could be used 3 times, but it had been used twice in the Starry Universe. Only the last time left. 1. When Wang Xian took out the space scroll, he escaped instantly. Ha! This is a treasure from our Void Universe, a treasure that can allow you to escape instantly. Why does he have a treasure from our Void Universe? Chase him! We can't let him escape! Wang Xian's figure disappeared instantly. Tianmen Duke and the rest flew over and saw this scene. Their faces darkened. They looked around and saw that the aura of the glowing shadow had completely disappeared. He had been completely killed. That figure just now should have the appearance of a divine dragon from the 9 Origins universe. He is indeed from the 9 Origins universe, Duke Shining said with a gloomy face. Chase him. He escaped with an escape treasure, but that teleportation treasure is a space scroll from our Void Universe. The teleportation distance of the space scroll is limited. We can chase after him. We must kill him. Tianmen Duke looked at them and said. The rest of them nodded. With a swift movement, they chased after Wang Xian in the direction of his escape. Buzz! Wang Xian appeared not far from where the battle had taken place. He checked the space symbol compass and could not sense any experts from the Void Universe. He looked ahead, and with a flicker of his body, one nether ghost clone after another appeared. In an instant he flew around. At the same time, Wang Xian flew forward. In the process of flying, once the nether ghost doppelganger reached its limit and returned automatically, Wang Xian would release it again. To prevent being completely surrounded and not being able to escape, Buzz buzz. After flying for 10 minutes, another notification sounded from the spatial compass. When he saw the information, his expression changed again. The other party has a treasure that can detect and lock onto me from a distance. It will be very difficult for me to get rid of it. Wang Xian's heart sank as he thought to himself. The distance shown on the spatial text compass showed that the enemy was approaching at a terrifying speed. When the distance reached a certain extent, Wang Xian's body shook. Netherworld Dragon Transformation! His figure trembled slightly and disappeared. He appeared on the right side of another ghost clone and replaced it. Subsequently, the notification from the spatial text compass disappeared. Huh! His position suddenly shifted from the front to the right. He must have sensed our arrival. The detection treasure in his hand should be able to detect our approach. Tianninggong looked at the space pointer in his hand and saw Wang Xian's position changing rapidly. He immediately spoke. To teleport a considerable distance in an instant, it must be a special secret art or with the help of a treasure. Secret arts and treasures can't be used indefinitely. Continue the chase, Tianninggong said loudly. Duke Tianmen nodded. They changed their direction and quickly chased after him. Behind him, the other three Divine Origin Creation Realm experts couldn't keep up with their speed. After all, Tianmen Duke and Tianninggong were Creation Realm experts at the control level. They were much stronger than them in terms of the use of spatial power and strength. Even under the suppression of the Six Paths universe, the two of them gave chase at high speed. Wang Xian, on the other hand, was fleeing even faster ahead. However, after flying for an hour, there was another notification from the spatial text compass. He's so fast! He caught up within an hour! Wang Xian's expression changed when he saw that he was caught up again. He took a deep breath and sensed the information on the spatial text compass. 1. When he sensed that the experts from the Void Universe were about to arrive, Wang Xian used the Netherworld Dragon Transformation ability again, and instantly widened the distance. Huh! Tianmen Duke, who was in pursuit, was slightly taken aback when he saw the change in direction on the space pointer. Zuifang, he's discovered us again and is trying to escape, Tianmen Duke said loudly. He changed direction and continued the chase. I'd like to see how long he can escape. Duke Xining's eyes narrowed when he saw this, and he shouted loudly. Another chase. Wang Xian fled again. An hour later, the spatial text compass sensed the experts from the Void Universe again. This won't do. I have to go to a tribe and escape quickly through the tribe's teleportation formation. When Wang Xian saw that he was about to be caught up again, he thought to himself. He transformed again, widened the distance, and flew towards the location of a water tribe. As long as he entered a tribe and used the teleportation formation for a long distance, he would be able to completely widen the distance between him and the experts from the Void Universe. He escaped again. This shouldn't be a treasure for escaping. It should be an ability that he has mastered. He has already teleported a few times easily. He might not have to pay any price for this teleportation. When Tianmen Duke saw Wang Xian widening the distance again, his expression changed and he said in a deep voice. Tianninggong's expression also changed. He gritted his teeth and said, Why don't we use the Void Pagoda to give chase? The energy fluctuation of the Void Pagoda is too strong, and its size is too big. It might attract the Creation Realm experts from the Six Paths universe. Tianmen Duke took a deep breath when he heard this. He hesitated for a moment and gritted his teeth. All right, there are many Creation Realm experts from the Six Paths universe. There are only 3 Creation Realm experts in the Six Paths universe. There are no tribes nearby, so we can use the Void Pagoda. All right, let's give chase. We must eliminate him. Duke Xining's gaze froze, revealing a cold expression. Chapter 4107, Wang. In the sky above the water source, a space weapon that looked like a war machine gradually emerged. Void Tower. The war weapon of the Void Royalty of the Void Universe. The Void Tower was the most powerful weapon in the Void Universe. To the experts of the void universe, it could greatly enhance the power of space. Duke Xining summoned the void pagoda, and they immediately entered it. The immense power of space caused the surrounding water flow to stagnate. The void tower erupted with terrifying energy. As the country guardians of the void royalty, their void tower was second only to the void king's void tower. Duke Tianmen and Duke Xining entered the void tower. They stared at the direction Wang Xian escaped and injected energy into it. Wang! The void pagoda trembled and disappeared in an instant. The energy of the void tower was very strong, and it was obvious in the Six Paths universe. But at this moment, Duke Tianmen and Duke Xining were determined to kill Wang Xian. They would not hesitate to be killed by the experts of the Sky Yuan creation realm of the Six Paths universe. In addition, they were also betting. They were betting that the experts of the Six Paths universe would not discover them. They were betting that they would kill Wang Xian before the experts of the Six Paths universe discovered them. They had the confidence to do so. With the help of the powerful void tower, the distance they could teleport was twice as far as they could teleport on their own. Wang Xian flew rapidly in front. But this time, the void compass showed the information of the experts of the void universe in less than 10 minutes. Wang Xian was slightly taken aback. Huh! How can this be? How can they be here so quickly? How is this possible? Wang Xian's expression changed when he saw the information. Wang! At this moment, he realized that the experts of the void universe were very, very close to them. They are using powerful treasures! Wang Xian's heart sank and his expression changed. He quickly transformed into the netherworld dragon. After the transformation, Wang Xian looked behind him and flew towards the bottom of the water source with all his might. The three nether ghost avatars flew in different directions. Boom, boom, boom! Behind him, Tianmen Duke saw Wang Xian changing his direction again. With a cold smirk, he changed his direction and continued his pursuit. The huge void tower was like a terrifying monster, wreaking havoc in the water domain. Even peak universe ruler realm experts would feel their hearts palpitate when they saw this. What's that? What was that? How could it be so terrifying? I don't know. That thing looks really scary, and the energy it emits is also very strange. Is it an invader from another universe? Absolutely. How dare they act so arrogantly in our Six Paths universe? The void tower teleported. When he tore the sky apart, he appeared in another region. Not far away, a group of Six Paths universe's disciples saw the void tower, and they were all shocked. Each and every one of them shouted in shock and anger. It had been tens of millions of years since the birth of the heaven origin fortune treasure in the Six Paths universe. Many experts and disciples of the tribes in the Six Paths universe also heard of this news. Now that they saw this terrifying void tower, they naturally thought that it was an intruder. They were naturally furious at the intruders. They immediately spread the news to the tribe's powerhouses and chief. Buzz buzz! It's here again! 10 minutes later, Wang Xian's face darkened again. Another message came from the void compass. The experts from the void universe were still chasing after him at a terrifying speed. After all, the netherworld dragon transformation was not an ordinary ability. It could not be used limitlessly. Previously, it was very easy to use once an hour. But now, it consumed a lot of energy to use it once every 10 minutes. In fact, it might even take some time to recover in the end. This void universe has used a powerful treasure. I have to reach a tribe as soon as possible. However, according to the information in my mind, the nearest tribe will need at least half a month. Wang Xian's face darkened. Qilin Bull, leave with the resources first. He sent a voice transmission to Qilin Bull. Now that his strength had improved, the progenitor tree had also improved significantly after absorbing the energy from him. Now, the soul returning wood on the progenitor tree had an ability. That was, after he was killed, he could directly bring his corpse back to the Dragon Palace. Even if Wang Xian was in another universe. This was the power of the Heaven Origin Fortune treasure. However, the prerequisite was that Wang Xian's corpse could not be suppressed instantly. In other words, if Wang Xian was killed and his corpse was suppressed by the energy, this ability would lose its effect. But even if it lost its effect, Wang Xian's soul could still be pulled into the progenitor tree. He would just lose a body. But the loss of a body was huge for Wang Xian. At least, the Dragon Palace did not have the energy to recover to his current strength. Fortunately, Wang Xian had hunted down a Sky Yuan creation realm expert with the dark attribute. This was a huge amount of energy. Therefore, Wang Xian ordered Qilin Bull to leave with the corpse. Qilin Bull should not have been locked on. Yes, boss! Qilin Bull hesitated for a moment, gritted his teeth, and nodded. He also knew that this was the best choice for now. Staying behind would not be of much help. Qilin Bull flew out of the nest and headed in another direction. Wang Xian continued flying forward. It's not that easy to kill me, he mumbled to himself, and took out a communication device. This communication device belonged to an expert on the water source of the 6 Daos universe. He had obtained it. The communication devices of the 6 Daos universe were similar to those of the 9 Daos universe. Through this communicator, they could converse and even upload images. The technology involved was not difficult. A Heaven Origin Fortune treasure expert would only need to study it, and they would be able to do it. It was just like how the weak Earth could create the internet. Besides, this communication device in his hand was obtained from a Universe Lord realm expert. He took the communication device and immediately sent out a message. 10 minutes later, when the space text compass sensed the expert from the void universe again, his body stopped in place. Wang! In less than 10 seconds, the void behind him was torn apart. The space was torn apart. The surrounding seawater surged in all directions. A huge void pagoda appeared in his sight. When Wang Xian saw the void pagoda, his eyes narrowed. So it's the void pagoda of the void universe. This is a powerful weapon of war. Wang Xian mumbled to himself as he took out the communication device and recorded everything. In the next instant, he transformed into the Netherworld Dragon and left. Chapter 4108 Wang Xian was fleeing for his life at top speed. At the same time, he held a communication device in his hand and transmitted the image of the Void Pagoda to the communication device of the 6 Paths universe. Outsiders from other universes. Powerful invaders. Enemies of the 6 Paths universe. Currently, Wang Xian and his group were addressed as such by the experts and disciples of the 6 Paths universe. Now, there was an invader who was so arrogant in their 6 Paths universe with such a powerful war weapon. Naturally, it caused a huge uproar in the universe. Countless experts and disciples of the 6 Paths universe cursed angrily on the communication device. And this news also spread to the experts of the 6 Paths universe, the Creation Realm experts of 6 Paths universe. When the Creation Realm experts of the 6 Paths universe saw this news, their eyes narrowed and were filled with coldness. Courting death! 2 figures flew out from the palaces above the 6 treasure lands and headed towards the water source at a terrifying speed. Flying in the sky above the 6 Paths universe without any scruples. This was something that the Creation Realm experts of the 6 Paths universe could not tolerate. They had to pay the price. Speed up and continue the chase! In the Void Pagoda, Duke Tianmen's face darkened when he saw Wang Xian disappear again. We have to get rid of him within an hour or two. Otherwise, the Creation Realm experts of the 6 Paths universe might rush over. All right. Duke Shining also nodded solemnly. They were not afraid that the Creation Realm experts of the 6 Paths universe would rush over. Even if they did, they were confident that they could escape. But if they did so, they would exhaust the treasures in their hands. Treasures like these that could allow one to escape were exceptionally precious even for Divine Origin Creation Realm experts. Every Creation Realm expert had 3 or 4 of these treasures in their hands, which was already a huge accumulation. 111! Rumble, rumble, rumble. The Void Pagoda began to shake and cracks began to appear in the surrounding space. The Void Pagoda disappeared again. This time, the energy released by the Void Pagoda was even more terrifying. The distance of teleportation was also greater. 3 minutes later, Wang Xian was flying in front. When he sensed something again, his expression changed slightly. How did the speed increase again? Oh no! Wang Xian frowned. Before the Void Pagoda arrived, he could only teleport again. Buzz! After he disappeared, the Void Pagoda appeared. Humph, do you think you can escape? Inside the Void Tower, the two country dukes of the Void Universe had cold expressions on their faces. They stared in one direction, and the Void Tower continued to chase. Who? This won't do. I can't transform into a netherworld dragon anymore. When Wang Xian escaped once again, he took a deep breath. Next, he would have to rely on other methods. He had to rely on his own strength. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Not long after, the space text compass's warning sound rang out once more. Wang Xian narrowed his eyes and continued flying. A few seconds later, the Void Tower appeared behind him. I found that guy. This time, he couldn't teleport away. It seems that this secret technique can't be used indefinitely. Behind him, when Tianmen Duke saw Wang Xian's figure appearing in his line of sight, his eyes lit up and he bellowed. Attack directly! Duke Xining also let out a low roar, and his palm directly landed on the Void Tower. Buzz! Above the Void Tower, a terrifying spatial energy was condensing. Boom! Immediately after, a force of space blasted towards Wang Xian. The terrifying speed and energy caused Wang Xian's expression to change drastically. I can't block it. I can't block it at all. He let out a low roar, and his expression was extremely bitter. Shadow Dragon Doppelganger! When the spatial energy was about to land on Wang Xian, his body trembled slightly. The Dharma form of the Shadow Dragon Doppelganger. The Shadow Dragon Doppelganger could allow him to avoid any attack. Even if it was a fatal attack. Boom! A terrifying sound was heard, and the energy penetrated his body. Wang Xian appeared at the side. He moved and flew forward with all his might. The spatial energy landed on the void in front of him, causing a huge crack in the entire void. Looking from afar, it was exceptionally terrifying. Damn it, a control-level creation of Heavenly Yuan. With the help of this killer weapon, I'm no match at all. When Wang Xian saw this energy, his expression changed slightly. Roar! Roar! He let out a low roar, and immediately transformed into his divine dragon body, and flew towards the ocean below. When he entered the ocean of water, Wang Xian swayed his huge divine dragon body and flew at high speed. The divine dragon tribe of the Nine Origins universe, damn it! Seeing Wang Xian dodging their first attack, Duke Xining's expression did not change at all. With a cold expression, he continued to inject energy into the Void Pagoda. Wang! Duke Tianmen, who was at the side, also moved his palm, and waves of energy were injected into the Void Pagoda. Following which, terrifying spatial chains appeared around the Void Pagoda. The spatial chains attacked Wang Xian's body. At the same time, a terrifying force of space, similar to the previous one, pierced through Wang Xian's massive body. Boom! The spatial energy completely locked onto Wang Xian and penetrated him. Wang Xian swayed his huge body to prevent his vital parts from being agitated. Pfft! In the next instant, the position of his tail was enveloped by the spatial energy. A spatial storm instantly obliterated his tail. In an instant, a quarter of Wang Xian's body was gone. However, this was not the end. The chains had also arrived around Wang Xian in an instant. The chains formed by the power of space seemed to have even sealed the surrounding void. All of a sudden, Wang Xian sensed that the space around him seemed to have solidified. It was extremely difficult to move. Walla! The sound of the spatial chains reverberated. One by one, the chains entered his body and entangled him. How dare you harm the experts of my void universe? Go to hell! Duke Tianmen bellowed with murderous intent when he saw this scene. SSS. The spatial chains entered Wang Xian's body, and the dragon tail was instantly obliterated. Wang Xian took in a deep breath of cold air. The excruciating pain made his face and body tremble slightly. Boom! Wang Xian's body shook, and he directly broke his own body to prevent himself from being completely controlled by the spatial chains. Roar! Wang Xian let out a deep roar. A demonic flower that emitted a unique dark glow appeared where his dragon horns were. Dark flower of the other shore. Paramita Samsara. In an instant, his body was shrouded by a unique energy. The dark flower of the other shore above his head dimmed instantly. Paramita Samsara, the body retraced. The part of the dragon tail that had disappeared. The injuries suffered in his body were instantly healed. Paramita Samsara. With Wang Xian's current strength, he could retrace 9 seconds ago. Chapter 4109 Roar, Roar, Roar! Wang Xian's body recovered to its peak in an instant. He let out a wild roar as cracks slowly appeared on his body. Netherworld Dragon Transformation! Blood flowed from Wang Xian's mouth as he forcefully used the Netherworld Dragon Transformation. The impact of forcefully using an ability that could not be used was extremely terrifying. It even injured Wang Xian's body that had just recovered to its peak. Moreover, the injury was not light. However, Wang Xian's figure disappeared in an instant. He had escaped the attack of the experts from the Void Universe. Huh! He recovered from all his injuries in an instant and escaped by force. When Tianmen Duke and the rest saw that Wang Xian had recovered from his injuries rapidly and left immediately, they were astonished. He left forcefully this time. He's already injured. Continue the chase! Duke Xining narrowed his eyes as he controlled the Void Pagoda to continue the chase. Phew! Wang Xian's body shifted to the Nether Ghost clone not far away. He transformed into his human form and took a few deep breaths. His expression was extremely ugly. He had used all his trump cards. At this moment, Wang Xian had almost used all his trump cards. The strongest ability of the Dark Flower of the Other Shore. This time, the flower of the other shore in his hand was almost useless. He would need at least tens of millions of years to recover. The Dharma form of the Shadow Dragon clone was also unusable. The Netherworld Dragon clone could be used regardless of the damage to its body. However, the Shadow Dragon clone could not be used. He was injured and it would take him at least a few million years to recover. If he continued to use the Netherworld Dragon transformation, the injuries would be unimaginable. Wang Xian even had a feeling that if he used it 2 or 3 more times, his body would collapse and perish. If I have no choice, I can at most use it twice. If I use it thrice, it's probably no different from death. Wang Xian murmured as he flew forward quickly. The Nether Ghost clone continued to fly in all directions. Wang Xian's speed did not decrease much despite his injuries. However, he had not escaped the experts from the Void Universe yet. According to his memory, he still needed more than 10 days to reach the closest one. Seems like I'm in trouble this time. Wang Xian murmured as he continued to fly at high speed. 3 minutes later, the space text compass showed that the experts from the Void Universe had caught up again. The horrifying Void Pagoda and the horrifying energy made Wang Xian feel bitter. This time, it was a loss. The energy that erupted from the Void Tower wasn't something that Wang Xian could withstand. After all, the Void Tower had 2 control-level Divine Prime Creation powerhouses. Wang Xian shook his head helplessly. Abyss Dragon Transformation! Buzz! Wang Xian's body began to crumble as the vitality in his body vanished rapidly. While he was undergoing the transformation, the surrounding energy pressed down on him, wearing away at his life force. Pooh! After he dodged, he spat out a mouthful of blood. A heavy injury, a complete and utter heavy injury. Without any treasures, it would take him hundreds of millions of years to recover from this kind of injury. However, he could only continue to use it forcefully. Otherwise, they would be finished. Although they could be resurrected, the price to do so was too high. Moreover, he did not want to be killed by the experts of the Void Universe even if he were to suffer serious injuries and die. If I knew this would happen, I would have brought Enlai along. If Enlai had come, he could have collected my corpse. Wang Xian was trying to find joy in his misery. If Enlai was in this universe, he could have brought his corpse back when he executed the Abyss Dragon transformation. In that case, Wang Xian's recovery would be much faster. He can't hold on any longer. He's forcefully executing this shifting ability. Chase after him. In the Void Tower, Tianmen Duke saw Wang Xian's body crumbling and bleeding. Sensing that Wang Xian's aura was weakening rapidly, his eyes lit up and he shouted loudly, "Rumble!" The Void Tower continued to rumble as it chased after Wang Xian. However, 2 minutes later, the Void Compass sent another message from the experts of the Void Universe. This made him shake his head helplessly. The heavy injuries on his body had slowed down his speed significantly. He had just escaped for 2 minutes, and he was caught up. Continue with the Abyss Dragon transformation. If I die, so be it. At most, I'll just recover. Wang Xian murmured and gritted his teeth. Buzz! Before the Void Tower arrived, Wang Xian executed the Abyss Dragon transformation once again. All Wang Xian could see was darkness before his eyes. His vitality was disappearing rapidly. Following which, he felt his consciousness dissipating gradually. The Abyss Dragon transformation was a success. However, after the transformation, his body collapsed immediately. He was on the verge of collapsing. He can't hold on any longer. Behind him, Tianmen Duke and the rest who were chasing after him happened to see Wang Xian's aura disappearing rapidly. Seeing Wang Xian escaping forcefully, their eyes lit up. Chase after him. He can't escape anymore. Destroy him completely. Tianmen Duke shouted with fervent eyes. How dare you be so unscrupulous in our Six Paths universe? You really don't have any regard for us. However, at this moment, a voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Soon after, a figure flew over from a faraway place. The energy on his body was very strange and gave people a creepy feeling. His entire body looked extremely stiff. A pair of blood-red eyes stared at Tianmen Duke and Xining Duke in the Void Tower. Oh no! When Tianmen Duke and Xining Duke saw the figure that suddenly flew over, their expressions changed slightly. If this was in the chaos or their universe, they wouldn't have the slightest change. However, this was the Six Paths universe. In this place, they were greatly suppressed. Damn it, let's get out of here first. That guy is already severely injured. We'll look for him after we escape. Tianmen Duke's expression darkened as he spoke to Xining Duke. All right. Xining Duke's expression changed slightly as he nodded his head. They didn't expect a Heavenly Yuan Creation Realm expert from the Six Paths universe to arrive so quickly. However, since a Heavenly Yuan Creation Realm expert was here, they could only escape. Even though they were all at the control level and possessed the Void Tower. However, they were still no match for him. Xining Duke immediately controlled the Void Tower and fled into the distance. You want to escape so easily? Let me show you the power of the Sixth Path of the Six Paths universe. Undying and indestructible, resurrected from the dead, Six Paths dead. The figure floating in the void narrowed his eyes and shouted coldly. With every sentence he spoke, the surrounding sky darkened. In front of the Void Tower, an incomparably huge coffin appeared. The entire coffin seemed to be sealing the entire heaven and earth. Chapter 41:10. 3 terrifying coffins slowly stood between the heavens and the earth. Each coffin was tens of thousands of kilometers in size. They stood between the heavens and the earth as if they were going to bury the entire world. The 3 coffins blocked all the paths to the Void Tower. Behind them, the figure stared at the Void Tower with bloodshot eyes. What kind of powerful technique is this? This technique makes my heart palpitate. Duke Xining, don't get entangled. Just use your treasures and leave this place. Duke Tianmen's eyes narrowed when he saw the 3 coffins appear in an instant. He spoke uneasily. All right. Duke Xining nodded his head heavily. With a flick of his palm, a space scroll appeared in his hand. With a flick of his palm, he stuck the space scroll into the Void Tower. The entire Void Tower began to turn illusory. Boom, boom! However, at this moment, one of the coffins in the center suddenly trembled. The entire space also trembled. An energy that Duke Tianmen and Duke Xining were extremely familiar with gushed out from the coffin. Soon after, the entire space was completely sealed. Space, dead stillness! Ah! An incomparably horrifying voice suddenly came from the coffin. The void pagoda, which had been teleporting, shook violently. The teleportation failed. What's going on? How is this possible? What is this? Dead stillness, a powerful forbidden technique of the Void royal family. Inside the Void Tower, Duke Tianmen and Duke Xining's expressions changed drastically. They stared at the gradually opening coffin in disbelief. From the coffin, a powerful spatial energy surged out. The surrounding space froze completely. The entire Void Pagoda was also completely sealed. Dead stillness. This was a powerful forbidden technique created by the holy ruler of the Void royal family. It allowed one's body and consciousness to merge into the surrounding void and seal everything. This technique consumed a lot of energy. It could even be said that if one was not careful and allowed the opponent to break through, they would be seriously injured. Now, why did this forbidden technique and this spatial energy suddenly appear? This made them feel somewhat incredulous. They were somewhat shocked. Crack, crack. At this moment, the coffin in the center was completely opened. Inside the coffin, a figure appeared in their line of sight. General of the Army Expedition! When they saw the figure in the coffin, both Duke of Tianmen and Duke of Xining exclaimed at the same time. The Void Universe's Void royal family's conquering general. During the last cataclysm, he was the only heavenly origin creation realm expert from the Void Universe who had completely fallen. How could a completely dead expert suddenly appear here? The figure in the coffin slowly opened his eyes, revealing a blood-red glow. His body exuded the power of space and deathly stillness. His temperament was completely different from what they remembered. Ka. At this time, the other two huge coffins on the left and right sides also slowly opened. Two burly figures appeared in their line of sight. A dead heavenly primal fortune. When Tianmen Duke saw this, his expression changed drastically. The dead heavenly primordial fortune. Yes, the divine origin creation realm experts in the coffins were all divine origin creation realm experts who had died. But now, it had been summoned. Most importantly, the three dead divine origin creation stage experts still possessed the strength of the divine origin creation stage. They also possessed the secret techniques from when they were alive. Duke Xining also took a deep breath. The power of the sixth path of the six paths universe, the attribute of the dead. The power of the dead has always been stronger in the universe, but this power. Duke Xining's expression was somewhat ugly. They had never dealt with a heavenly primordial fortune expert from the six paths universe. They did not know that this heavenly primordial fortune expert from the six paths universe was so terrifying. He could actually summon dead experts. This was somewhat terrifying. Somewhat powerful. If they were in the primal chaos, they might have been able to easily leave and even suppress them. But here they were in big trouble. If these three special corpses could continue fighting, it was equivalent to facing the attack of 4 heavenly primordial fortune experts. With their suppressed strength, they could dodge 1 or 2, but they had no confidence in dodging 3 or 4. This six paths universe is not as simple as we thought. Tianmen Duke's expression was ugly. They moved their bodies and felt that the surrounding energy was extremely condensed. The power of space within their bodies was being squeezed by the surrounding power of space. Tianmen Duke, we can only pray for our own good now. Duke Xining stared at him and spoke. With a wave of his palm, the void pagoda disappeared and entered his body. Tianmen Duke nodded his head with an ugly expression. Next, they had to flee for their lives. As for whether they could escape, it would depend on their luck. Both of them took a deep breath. They began to use the trump cards and treasures in their hands. Wang Xian did not know that the arrival of the experts from the Six Paths universe had allowed him to escape a calamity. But at this moment, although he had escaped a calamity, his body was on the brink of death. The vitality in his body was extremely weak. It could be said that any living creature could kill him. He floated on the water surface of the water source and was swept by the waves. He was completely unconscious. At this state, it would not take long for Wang Xian to die. And before long, he would be resurrected in the Dragon Palace. Miss, look out! There seems to be someone over there. Time passed slowly. A few hours later, the two of them floated on the water surface and flew forward rapidly. At this moment, the girl on the right suddenly spoke and stood in front of the girl beside her. The girl beside her had a bulging belly. She was obviously pregnant. I see him. He seems to be injured. The pregnant girl looked over and said, Miss, we don't know the identity of this person. Let's not bother about him. The maidservant on the right said, It's all right. Since we have already bumped into him, let's go over and take a look. If we can help, let's do him a favor. The girl hesitated for a moment, touched her belly, and said, This? The maidservant frowned slightly. At this moment, the body in front of them was approaching slowly under the wind and waves. All right. The maidservant nodded her head. Miss, I'll go and take a look. The maidservant flew over and checked the body. She frowned as waves of wood attribute energy surged into the body. Miss, this person is severely injured and is on the brink of death. He is now unconscious and won't recover so easily. The maidservant said to the girl. Bring him back. We're very close to the tribe now. The girl said. Miss, you're too kind. Chapter 41:11. Miss, I have prepared everything for you. Everything for the baby is ready. Will the baby be born today? Miss, is there anything else I can do? Is there anything else I can do? Water source, in a courtyard of the Muley tribe. The Muley tribe was located on the water surface. Below the water surface was a treasure land. The entire Muley tribe was exceptionally beautiful. Rain was constantly falling from the sky. Not far away, there was a rainbow adding color. Voices could be heard coming from one of the rooms inside. A child was about to be born. Outside the room, a middle-aged couple stood there, listening to the voices in the room. There was not a trace of joy on their faces. Humph, I didn't expect that I, Mu Li Qiao, would become the grandfather of an unknown bastard. How shameful! The middle-aged man glanced at the room and snorted coldly with an embarrassed expression. All right, Ina is our daughter. She suddenly. Alas, if she wants this child, then this child will be the descendant of our family. The woman next to him pulled his arm helplessly. Shameful, shameful! The middle-aged man roared angrily and helplessly. As he spoke, he glanced at the room next to him. A seriously injured man suddenly appeared there. Does it have anything to do with Ina? He asked in a deep voice. No, I have already checked. Ina and the others met him on the way and brought him here. When he wakes up, I will ask Xiaoyai to send him away to avoid some rumors. The woman nodded. That's good. The middle-aged man nodded. Miss, the baby is born. The baby is born. It's a boy, a cute boy. Along with the sound of crying, a pleasantly surprised voice rang out. In the courtyard, the middle-aged couple heard the child's cry and immediately looked over. Rumble! Rumble! However, in the next moment, a roar suddenly rang out. Along with the roar of the heavens and earth, a purple light, accompanied by an extremely dense aura of vitality, suddenly lit up the entire sky. No, not the entire sky. It was the entire universe. The universe roared. The purple vitality filled the universe. The sky and earth changed color. The sudden turn of events stunned the middle-aged couple in the courtyard. They hurriedly raised their heads to look at the sky. The entire world was enveloped by the purple aura and the aura of vitality. Even the rainwater seemed to contain powerful energy. All the living beings in the Six Paths universe felt a warmth enveloping their hearts. Heaven and earth are changing? What is this? Why does it feel like a celebration? The middle-aged man stood in the courtyard and looked up into the sky, sensing the changes in the universe. A look of shock appeared on his face as he muttered. At this moment, in the skies above the 6 treasured lands of the 6 Paths universe, on top of the palace, there were 2 figures sitting there. Suddenly, they raised their heads and looked up at the changes in the universe. Shock appeared on their faces. This is the universe's celebration. The supreme treasure of good fortune of heaven Yuan has appeared. The ultimate treasure of fortune of heaven's origin has been born. It has really been born. What kind of ultimate treasure of fortune is this? Where exactly is it in our universe? It's really born. We can't let those from the other universes get our 6 Paths universe's treasure. 2 figures stood there, their eyes flashing with madness as they roared loudly. At the same time, in different parts of the 6 Paths universe, ever since the news of the birth of the Heaven Yuan Fortune treasure spread, there were already 40 to 50 Heaven Yuan Fortune realm experts that came to the 6 Paths universe. They were all searching for the Heaven Yuan Fortune treasure. But for the past tens of millions of years, there was no news of the Heaven Yuan Fortune treasure. Now, the sudden change in the 6 Paths universe had caused all the experts to feel something. This must be the birth of the Heaven Yuan Fortune treasure. What kind of Heaven Yuan Fortune treasure is this? Is it an offensive type or something else? Hoo-hoo, the treasure has been born. We must find it, we must get it. As expected, the birth of the Heaven Yuan Fortune treasure in this universe. If I can get my hands on it, my strength will be greatly enhanced. Greatly enhanced! Quick, look for it quickly. We must get it before all the other experts find out. The Heaven Yuan Fortune treasure! All the Heaven Yuan Fortune treasures seemed to have gone mad. The preciousness of the Heaven Yuan Fortune treasure was unimaginable. The 9 Origins universe was not weak, but the Heaven Yuan Fortune realm experts, other than the universe AI that had not been fully controlled, were the sorcerer race's Heaven Yuan Fortune treasure. The other experts did not have a Heaven Yuan Fortune treasure. Even the fallen Shadow Devil Emperor did not have a Heaven Yuan Fortune treasure. For the sake of this universe's Heaven Yuan Fortune treasure, he did not hesitate to enter and search. This time, all the experts were in a frenzy. In fact, some of the Heaven Yuan Fortune realm experts were already preparing to send their subordinates into the 6 Paths universe. If their subordinates entered, even if their strength was suppressed, as long as they could obtain the Heaven Yuan Fortune treasure, all the losses would be worth it. The Heaven Yuan Fortune realm experts of the 6 Paths universe began to move. The group of Heaven Yuan Fortune realm experts from the outside was also searching frantically. Husband, what's going on? In a courtyard of the Muley tribe, a woman asked a middle-aged man. I don't know either, but it doesn't seem like a bad thing. The middle-aged man shook his head. He was only a 5th Order universe sovereign. He could not sense what was going on. As long as it's not a bad thing. Let's go in and see our daughter and child. The woman nodded and said to the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man looked around, nodded, and walked into the house. Huh! At the same time, in the room beside, Wang Xian was lying on a bed. His face was drained of blood, and he looked extremely weak. But at this moment, he suddenly opened his eyes. Although he was still extremely weak and could still be killed easily, the radiance in his eyes was unusually bright. He could sense it. He could sense a very sacred and powerful energy. This energy had an unparalleled sharpness. This is... Wang Xian sat up slowly and looked to his right. To his right was a wall. Given Wang Xian's current injuries, he could not see through the wall. But at this moment, he could see through the wall. He could see that there was an extremely powerful treasure only 30 meters away from him. The aura was a little familiar. Heaven Yuan Fortune treasure! He slowly spat out 6 words. His eyes were burning as he added another 3 words. What attribute? Chapter 41:12 What attribute? Heavenly Yuan Fortune treasure. Wang Xian had never expected to find a Heavenly Yuan Fortune treasure under such circumstances. He stared in the direction of the wall, his eyes shining with a fiery luster. He took a deep breath. Cough, cough! An intense pain suddenly came, causing a helpless expression to appear on his face. My injuries are too severe, but I'm not dead yet. How long has it been? Wang Xian came back to his senses and calculated the time. It's already been 2 months? My current location seems to be in a tribe with a water source. Have I been saved by someone? The experts from the Void Universe didn't chase after me. What's going on? Looks like I've escaped death, Wang Xian murmured. Although he could be resurrected after death, Wang Xian was definitely lucky not to die. And from the looks of it, he was bound to be blessed after surviving a disaster. Would attribute Heavenly Yuan Fortune Treasure. Definitely. It must have just been born and isn't that strong. Its concealment ability is really strong. If not for the progenitor tree in my body, if not for me being so close, I wouldn't have discovered it, Wang Xian thought to himself. Heavenly Yuan Fortune Treasures were divided into 2 types. One was the Heavenly Yuan Fortune Treasure that had just been born and was already at its peak. These Heavenly Yuan Fortune Treasures were usually dazzling existences before they were born. Before they were born, they absorbed massive amounts of energy from heaven and earth. It was hard not to discover these Heavenly Yuan Fortune Treasures. The second type of Heavenly Yuan Fortune Treasures were very weak after they were born. They would absorb energy bit by bit until they matured. These Heavenly Yuan Fortune Treasures usually had strong concealment abilities and were hard to discover. The treasure was reserved, and only when it was fully matured would it release its radiance. The Heavenly Yuan Fortune Treasures of the 6 Paths universe belonged to the second type. Under such circumstances, Wang Xian could sense the existence of the Heavenly Yuan Fortune Treasures. Other experts, including the Heavenly Yuan Fortune Treasures of the 6 Paths universe, would not be able to discover them unless they were dozens of meters away. My luck is really good. Wang Xian waved his palm and some divine fruits appeared in his hand. He still had some divine fruits and elixir pills with him. Moreover, these divine fruits and elixir pills were all at least level 9 universe sovereigns. Wang Xian consumed them immediately. Waves of energy entered his body and healed his injuries. But according to Wang Xian's calculations, if he wanted to recover to his peak, he would need to cultivate for another 500 to 600 million years with the resources he had on hand. The experts from the Void Universe are not here yet. We can call Qilin Bull over. Since Qilin Bull is here, get him to make some recovery items. His injuries should be able to recover within 100 million years. Wang Xian pondered. He got off the bed and took a deep breath. His current combat power was only at the level of an emperor god. It couldn't be helped. His injuries were too severe, and with the suppression from the 6 Paths universe, he was extremely weak right now. However, Wang Xian still headed outside. He wanted to take a look and see what the Heaven Origin Fortune Treasure was. Just where is it hiding? He had to get his hands on it. Wang Xian had a deep understanding of the power of a Heavenly Yuan Creation Treasure. Without the progenitor tree, Wang Xian would not have been able to reach this stage. In fact, without the progenitor tree, the Dragon Palace would not be so powerful. Several pinnacle dragon species were born because of the progenitor tree. Come, let me take care of the baby. Hee, I have some treasures from the Muley tribe that can help shape the body and build a foundation for babies. Come. Wang Xian walked out of the room and looked in the direction of the Heaven Origin Fortune Treasure. Then, he heard voices coming from there. It's in that room. Wang Xian thought to himself. He was sure that it was in that room. However, in that room, there were 4 people, and the strength of these 4 people was much stronger than his current strength. Wang! At this moment, Wang Xian sensed a message from Qilin Bull. 1 month. Qilin Bull replied. He could rush over in a month. As long as Qilin Bull could rush over, everything would be simple. I hope there are no accidents. I must get the Heaven Origin Fortune Treasure. His eyes were filled with determination. Come, call me Mommy, Grandma, and Grandpa. Iner, have you thought of a name for Xiaobao? Mom, I've thought about it. She will be called Tianxi from now on. Tianxi, Muley Tianxi? Great. Before he achieves anything, he can't use the surname Muley. I'll send someone to teach him cultivation in half a month. Before he achieves anything, he shouldn't go out. Father, Tianzi is just born. To start cultivating in half a month, don't say any more. Now that you have given birth to the child, you have to listen to me in the future. Don't worry, I'll teach him here for now. At this moment, a voice came from the room in front. It was a male voice with a tinge of authority and certainty. All right, I'll listen to you. Come, Miner, bring Tianzi to see the outside world. The voice of a lady was heard. At this moment, footsteps were heard. Wang Xian stood there and saw a couple and a female servant walking out. The woman was carrying a child in her arms. However, this child was already 70 to 80 centimeters tall. This was normal. As the center of the universe, a newborn child would weigh about 7 to 8 kilograms. However, be it the woman or her parents, they were all strong. With some treasures, the child could grow rapidly. If they were willing, they could even make the child grow to 2 meters tall in a day. Of course, under normal circumstances, they wouldn't do that. They would let their child grow from a young age. It might take 100 years for them to grow to a height of 1 meter. When a baby was just born, it would be shaped to be 70 to 80 centimeters tall. This was also to strengthen the baby's vitality, to prevent it from dying prematurely. Therefore, the baby could run the moment he was born. The woman walked out with the baby in her arms. The baby in her arms was looking at the world around him with a pair of big eyes. Ah! Ah! Suddenly, when he saw Wang Xian, he let out a cry and began to struggle. Huh! What's wrong, Tianzi? The woman was taken aback when she saw the child in her arms trying to break free. She squatted down slowly and placed him on the ground. Ah! After Tianzi was placed down, he ran towards Wang Xian. As he ran, he extended his arms. This caused the woman and the others to reveal astonished expressions. At this moment, Wang Xian stared at the child with disbelief and shock. He opened his mouth. Under his senses, this child, he was a creation treasure of Tianyuan. Chapter 41:13. Yes. Under Wang Xian's senses, this newborn baby that was running towards him was a creation treasure of heavenly yuan. That's right. Wang Xian's senses were definitely right. This made him feel a little overwhelmed. This was a little strange. How could this be possible? How could a child be a creation treasure of heavenly yuan? Under his astonished gaze, the child ran up to him and hugged him. Wang Xian lowered his head and looked at him. The child lifted his head and looked at him. After hesitating for a moment, Wang Xian carried him up slowly. An extremely dense wood-based energy gushed out from the child's body. At this moment, Wang Xian sensed the progenitor tree in his body trembling slightly. The wood-based energy was absorbed by the progenitor tree. Subsequently, the progenitor tree extended a branch and attached itself to the child. A surge of energy was transmitted into the child's body. Kakik! Kakik! The child seemed to be feeling very comfortable as he laughed. Wang Xian's expression changed slightly when he sensed the situation. He carried the child in his palm and sent a surge of energy into the child's body to check on his condition. Under Wang Xian's senses, he sensed that there was a sprout in the child's body. A green sprout. It grew abruptly in the child's body. Although it was very small, it contained extremely pure wood-based energy. This energy was full of tenacity and sharpness. It was completely different from the energy of the progenitor tree. This was not a supportive creation treasure of heavenly yuan. It was an offensive type. This is a newly born creation treasure of heavenly yuan. I'm 100% sure. This creation treasure of heavenly yuan has grown in the body of a child and is connected to the child's life. Now I can take away this creation treasure of heavenly yuan, Wang Xian concluded. Now, he could take away this creation treasure of heavenly yuan with 100% certainty. However, if he were to take away this creation treasure of heavenly yuan, this child would probably die instantly. This child's life was connected to the creation treasure of heavenly yuan. Very strange. This situation was very strange. Sir, you're awake. I didn't expect Tianxi to be so close to you. Murray Yin looked over and spoke to Wang Xian with a smile. Are you the ones who saved me? Wang Xian looked at them and asked. It was our young miss who saved you and brought you here. If it wasn't for our young miss, you might have died. Our young miss said that saving you is also a good deed for our young master. The maidservant beside Murray Yin spoke to Wang Xian. Thank you for saving my life, young lady. Wang Xian looked at Murray Yin and thanked her. His heart was in turmoil. He was already thinking about how he could get his hands on the heaven origin fortune treasure, but this woman had saved him. Most importantly, he said that he was doing good deeds for his own child? What? The child in front of him had a heavenly origin fortune treasure in his body. If Wang Xian did not take it away, others would definitely think that he was out of his mind. Even if they took away the heaven origin fortune treasure, this child would die. However, for existences at their level, the life of a child was incomparable to the life of a heavenly yuan fortune supreme treasure. Not to mention a child, even if there were 100 million of them, 99% of the heaven origin creation realm experts would make a move. To be able to cultivate to such a realm, which one of them wasn't in existence that massacred cities and destroyed nations? Which of their hands wasn't stained with the blood of millions of living beings? What kind of existence was the heavenly yuan fortune treasure? Biting the hand that feeds you. Wang Xian felt a little helpless. He had not expected such a choice to be presented to him. The other party saved him to do good deeds for the child, not to let him kill her child. You're welcome. We were just doing it out of convenience. Murray Yin shook her head. Your injuries are serious. Rest well. We'll do other things after you've recovered. Thank you for your concern. Wang Xian nodded. He squatted down and put the little boy down. Go and look for your mother. Yeah. However, the little boy wasn't obedient. He still hugged Wang Xian and refused to let go. This made Wang Xian speechless. At the side, Murray Yin shook her head when she saw this. She walked over and said, Come, Tianxi. Come and stay with your mother. Murray Yin reached out and wanted to carry Tianxi away. However, in the next second, Tianxi cried out and hugged Wang Xian, unwilling to leave. Seeing this, Wang Xian had an idea and ordered the progenitor tree to hide. The reason why Tianxi wanted to get close to him was because of the progenitor tree in Wang Xian's body. The two would attribute Sky Yuan creation treasures were in the growing stage. Wang Xian could clearly feel the subtle changes in the progenitor tree during the transformation of energy just now. This change was a good thing for the progenitor tree. The attraction of the progenitor tree made Tianxi want to get close to him instinctively. All right. Tianxi, don't cry. Murray Yin hugged Tianxi and started comforting him. I'm going to the room to recover from my injuries. I won't disturb you any further. I'll thank you when Miss Murray is free. Wang Xian looked at them, bowed to them and walked into the room. All right. Murray Yin nodded and continued to coax Tianxi. This little Tianxi is really good at messing around. Come, let Granny hug you. The lady behind came over and comforted him. The few of them started to coax the child. Wang Xian swept a glance around and entered the room. His expression changed slightly. After a few minutes of silence, he shook his head helplessly. Forget it. If there's no good solution, then forget it. Let's see if the progenitor tree can get something useful from him when he grows. Even if it's just a branch. In the end, Wang Xian decided to let go. He had his own principles. If someone offended him, he would return the favor tenfold. But now that the other party had helped him, Wang Xian couldn't return kindness with ingratitude. Although the temptation of the Sky Yuan creation treasure was too great, he couldn't cross his own bottom line. Moreover, after the short conversation with Tianxi, he realized that the progenitor tree could also benefit from contact with the Sky Yuan creation treasure in his body. However, the Sky Yuan creation treasure in his body had just been born, and the effects weren't obvious yet. I'll stay here for a period of time. Wang Xian made up his mind. After sensing the situation outside, he closed his eyes and started to recover from his injuries. Creak! After a few days, the door to Wang Xian's room was suddenly opened. This made him narrow his eyes and look at the door. Soon after, he saw a head peeking in with a pair of big eyes looking at him. Wang Xian smiled when he saw it. Chapter 41:14. Uncle! Tianci peeked through the gap of the door and called out to Wang Xian with a smile. Come in! Wang Xian looked at this little guy with a smile. He looked at the time. It was the 10th day since Tianci was born. Over the past 10 days, there were no changes to his body. He was still 70 to 80 centimeters tall and chubby. Upon hearing Wang Xian, he ran over with a smile. Uncle, I feel the most comfortable when I'm with you. My mother keeps asking me to learn how to read. Tianci walked over and sat beside him. He hugged Wang Xian's arm and spoke. Your mother is doing this for your own good. Wang Xian smiled and patted his head. A wave of energy entered his body. Instantly, the progenitor tree in his body stirred. From his palm, a branch entered Tianci's body. Within Tianci's body, the wood-based Heaven Yuan creation treasure was still in the form of a sprout. This sprout seemed to be very excited when it sensed the aura of the progenitor tree. It wrapped its branches around it. Although they were of the same wood-based attribute, they had different attributes. Gradually, they blended together. Uncle, your aura is so comfortable. It's even more comfortable than my mother. Bring me out to play? Tianci hugged Wang Xian and continued. Her? We can go out, but we have to play at the entrance. Wang Xian looked at him and spoke with a smile. At the same time, he was also sensing the Heaven Yuan creation treasure in Tianci's body. As it was still in the sprout state, the characteristics of this Heaven Yuan creation treasure had yet to be revealed. He could sense that the progenitor tree was injecting waves of pure wood-based energy into the sprout. The progenitor tree did not circulate the energy directly like the first time and absorb it back. This was pure feedback. It was purely injecting energy into the sprout. The sprout was clearly very excited as it absorbed the energy from the progenitor tree. The energy it could absorb was a drop in the bucket compared to the energy contained by the progenitor tree. The progenitor tree seemed to be enhancing the sprout. Wang Xian did not stop it. The progenitor tree must have its own plans for this. The entrance isn't fun at all. My mother doesn't let me go too far. The 10-day-old Tianci could not only speak clearly, but his intelligence was also comparable to a 5-year-old child. Although he was a little unwilling, he still pulled Wang Xian to the entrance. It's all rain. There's nothing fun here. Wang Xian brought him to the entrance of the courtyard. Tianci looked around and shook his head. Wang Xian looked around. This was a place belonging to a tribe, and the surroundings were filled with similar small courtyards. Occasionally, he could see some people looking over. When they saw Wang Xian, they were curious. Not fun! Tianci lifted his head and looked at Wang Xian. He continued, Uncle, can you bring me somewhere far away to play? Not without your mother's permission. Wang Xian shook his head. With a wave of his arm, tree branches appeared out of thin air around them. The branches quickly turned into a playground. There were all kinds of toys and facilities for children to play in the visitor center. Wow, Uncle, what is this? Seeing the changes before him, Tianci exclaimed. This is just a small ability. You will learn it in the future. Go ahead and play. Wang Xian said to him with a smile. Yes, there's a shaking tree there. It looks fun. After all, Tianci was a child who had not seen much of the world and did not have much wisdom. He ran over excitedly and started playing. Other things aside, the toys created by Wang Xian were not found in the Six Paths universe. This playground was similar to the children's playground on Earth. Even adults would be curious when they saw it. As a child, he naturally could not resist it. Uncle, come over here. Let's play together. Tianci shouted and waved at Wang Xian. You only love to play. Don't disturb your uncle. At this moment, Tianxi's mother, Muli Yiner, walked out and said to Tianxi. She had a kind look on her face as she sized up this special place. After which, she looked at Wang Xian. Did this child, Tianxi, disturb you? Muli Yiner asked. No, Tianxi is very cute. Moreover, you guys are my saviors. This is nothing. Wang Xian shook his head at Muli Yiner and said with a smile. Hee, you and Tianxi are fated. Speaking of which, he is unusually close to you. When he first learned to speak, he said he wanted to look for his uncle. Muli Yiner said with a helpless look. She felt that her son seemed to like Wang Xian very much, and kept saying he wanted to look for his uncle. Wang Xian smiled when he heard this. The reason why Tianxi was close to him was due to the mutual attraction between Tian Yuan's creation treasure. Both of them were of the wood attribute, and could be considered as the origin. Oh yes, what's your name? Are your injuries better? Muli Yiner looked at Wang Xian and asked. Just call me Wang Xian. My injuries are fine. Sorry to disturb you for this period of time. I'll leave after some time. Wang Xian nodded and replied with a smile. That's not what I meant. Since Tianxi likes you so much, it's better for you to stay here for a few more days. Let's talk again when your injuries are completely healed. Muli Yiner shook her head and explained. Wang Xian nodded. He was just saying it. He wouldn't leave even if she asked him to. Wang Xian had a hunch that he could gain some benefits from Tianxi. Mummy, come over and play with me. At this moment, Tianxi's shouts continued. Muli Yiner felt a little helpless. However, she still walked over with a smile. Wang Xian looked at Tianxi with flickering eyes. Among these wood attribute branches, there were branches from the progenitor tree. Tianxi's presence here was equivalent to being close to the progenitor tree at all times. The Tian Yuan's creation treasure in his body was also absorbing the energy of the progenitor tree at all times to grow. Hey, which tribe are you from? Why are you so badly injured this time? Muli Yiner's maidservant walked over and asked Wang Xian. No tribe. I met a powerful elemental beast the previous time. Wang Xian looked at the maidservant and answered with a smile. No tribe? In that case, you can stay here for a few more days. Our young master seems to like you a lot. The maidservant sized Wang Xian up and continued. You look pretty good too. Wang Xian smiled and asked. Oh yes, why didn't I see Tianxi's father? Huh! Hey, don't ask this question in the future, especially in front of our young master and mistress. The maidservant suddenly warned Wang Xian in a low voice. Wang Xian looked at her curiously. Chapter 41:15. I'll tell you. Don't tell anyone else. Forget it. Everyone else knows anyway. When the maidservant saw Wang Xian looking at her curiously, she transmitted a message to him. Our young master doesn't have a father. The maidservant added. No father? Wang Xian was still a little puzzled by her words. In that case, Muli Yiner was abandoned? Muli Yiner looked very pretty. Those who could be described as very beautiful by Wang Xian were usually top-notch and almost impeccable. And indeed, Muli Yiner's appearance was very exquisite. Perhaps because she had given birth, she had a special charm that other girls didn't have. Just know this. Don't ask too much. The maidservant continued to speak to Wang Xian. Wang Xian nodded. He didn't have this gossip. If Tianxi didn't have a father, he must have abandoned his wife and son or gotten pregnant out of wedlock. Uncle, come and play! Come and play! Tianxi's voice could be heard from the front again. Wang Xian shook his head at him. Muli Yiner whispered something to Tianxi and didn't call out to him again. An hour later, Tianxi was tired and brought Muli Yiner back to her room. Wang Xian returned to his room and continued to recuperate with his legs crossed. However, within a few hours, Tianxi came to his room again. I want to sleep with uncle, not with my mother. Tianxi hugged his blanket and climbed onto Wang Xian's bed happily. All right, go to sleep. Seeing this, Wang Xian nodded with a smile. Tianzi was in front of him. As long as his mother didn't object, Wang Xian naturally wouldn't object. The progenitor tree entered his body. In less than 10 seconds, Tianzi fell into a deep sleep. Sigh. Wang Xian, sorry to trouble you. This child insisted on sleeping with you. Sorry for disturbing you. Soon, Murray Einer transmitted a message to Wang Xian. Hee, it's alright. I'll be recuperating at the side. It won't affect me. Let Tianzi sleep at my place. Wang Xian transmitted a message immediately. Murray Einer replied. She stood at the door with helplessness and bitterness on her face. Her son didn't follow his biological mother. Instead, he followed an outsider. This made him very sad. If he hadn't given birth to him, he would have doubted whether he was his own son or not. Next, Wang Xian sat cross-legged and continued his cultivation. There was no time to recover from injuries. However, after Tianzi woke up, he left after taking a look at Wang Xian. After more than 10 hours, he went back to sleep. Wang Xian had no idea how long he had been cultivating. On this day, the Qilin bull sent him a message telling him that he had arrived. Wang Xian opened his eyes and immediately took out a communication device to reply. Boss! Before long, Qilin bull appeared in front of Wang Xian. With the Qilin bull's current strength, even if he came in, Muli Einer and the others would not be able to sense him. Boss, your injuries are so severe. Eat these medicines and divine fruits first to recover from your injuries. Unicorn Bull said to Wang Xian. Give him some resources to heal his wounds. Wang Xian nodded his head and swallowed it. Although I'm injured this time, there's good fortune after surviving a disaster. Wang Xian smiled. Subsequently, he told the unicorn about his encounter with the heavenly Yuan fortune treasure. What? Boss, you encountered the heavenly Yuan fortune treasure? That treasure turned out to be a little boy that merged with the life of a child. This? Qilin Bull's eyes widened in shock. Yes. However, Tianzi's mother saved my life. Therefore, I'm not going to take the heavenly Yuan fortune treasure away. I'll see if I can get some other fortunes by staying by his side. In addition, I'll help him grow. In the future, I'll form a good relationship with him. Wang Xian nodded his head and said to Qilin Bull. Tianzi's mother saved him, which was also a good deed for Tianzi. In that case, Wang Xian naturally wanted to form a good relationship with her. Boss, you're indeed the boss. It's rare to see someone like you in the entire universe. You're indeed the boss of Qilin Bull. Qilin Bull flattered Wang Xian when he heard it. However, his face was also filled with admiration. To be able to remain unmoved and unready in front of a heavenly Yuan fortune treasure was something that few people could do. A treasure of this level could turn brothers against each other and form a feud between father and son. Wang Xian shook his head. All right, wait for my news in the mother nest. Yes, boss. Qilin Bull nodded his head and entered the mother nest. At the same time, Qilin Bull took out some resources. This included the corpse of the heavenly Yuan fortune treasure realm expert that Wang Xian wanted him to take away. Let's see if there are any treasures in the corpse of the heavenly Yuan fortune treasure realm expert. Wang Xian sensed the corpse and looked over. Wang Xian did not have the time to look at the corpse when he killed it. With a shift of his mind, he began to search. From the corpse, he found a space ring. The space ring was easy to open. When Wang Xian opened it and saw the items inside, he was shocked. So many treasures. Why does this guy have so many treasures on him? Wang Xian revealed a trace of joy. There were many resources in his space ring, and some of them contained a massive amount of energy. In fact, one of the treasures contained energy that had reached the level of heavenly Yuan fortune treasure realm. What Wang Xian did not know was the reason why the glowing shadow had so many resources on him. That was because the glowing shadow did not think that he would be in danger when he entered the Six Paths universe. Moreover, most of the resources were rewards given to him by the experts of the Void universe. The experts of the Void universe had invited a heavenly Yuan fortune treasure realm expert to help attack the unknown mastermind. Ordinary Heavenly Yuan Fortune Treasure Realm experts would not be willing to accept such a mission. Duke Tianmen and Duke Xining, two control-level existences, had only found one glowing shadow. Because this mission was to find the mastermind. No one knew how many Heavenly Yuan Fortune Treasure Realm experts were behind this. Once they joined in, it could be said that they were going to be enemies. Mortal enemies. In fact, this mastermind might even be a Heavenly Yuan Fortune Treasure Realm expert of the Nine Source Universe. This was also indirectly making an enemy of the Nine Source Universe. Which Heavenly Yuan Fortune Treasure Realm expert would dare to offend the Nine Source Universe? The glowing shadow agreed to accept this mission, and the rewards were naturally generous. In fact, this revenge was paid by 5 or 6 Heavenly Yuan Fortune Treasure Realm experts from the Void Universe. These resources were rare even for a Heavenly Yuan Fortune Treasure Realm expert of the Darkness Treasure Realm. Otherwise, the glowing shadow would not have taken this risk. But now, all these resources belonged to Wang Xian. In fact, he even left a corpse behind. Are these resources enough to upgrade the Tai Chi Dragon Plate? Wang Xian's heart was suddenly burning with passion. Chapter 41:16. The resources within this darkness-attributed corpse were beyond Wang Xian's expectations. Currently, the Tai Chi Dragon Board had already reached the peak of the Universe Ruler Realm. There was still a long way to go before he broke through. It was even very difficult to break through. The reason the grindstone was able to break through was because it had absorbed the Elemental God. The Elemental God's fragment was an existence comparable to the heavenly origin creation in the primal chaos. Under such circumstances, the great grindstone of the 5 elements finally broke through. As for the Tai Chi Dragon Plate, it could also be used to absorb treasures of this level to make a breakthrough. The Tai Chi Dragon Plate and the 5 elements grindstone could break through without any shackles. This was because of the 2 treasures. One of them was forged with the 5 elemental essence as its foundation, with the 5 elemental dragon souls as its core. Breaking through by continuously devouring and strengthening. The Tai Chi Dragon Plate, on the other hand, was constantly making breakthroughs through the heart of light and darkness and the yin-yang dragon soul. It was especially so for the 5 elements grindstone. When it was being nurtured in Wang Xian's body, it had also absorbed the energy of the progenitor tree. This was the reason why the 5 elements grindstone could easily break through. It was extremely difficult for any object to reach the level of Heavenly Yuan Fortune. However, the 5 elements grindstone and the Taiji Dragon Coil were somewhat special. They were originally the core of the 5 elements Dragon King and the Light and Dark Dragon King. This corpse contained extremely pure darkness origin energy, which the Tai Chi Dragon Disc could absorb at a high speed. These resources might be able to upgrade the Tai Chi Dragon Plate. Looking at all the resources, Wang Xian's eyes lit up. He immediately placed the Tai Chi Dragon Plate in the mother nest and ordered it to absorb the resources. In addition, this corpse could also be said to contain very pure energy. This energy could even allow Wang Xian to absorb it and rapidly recover from his injuries. However, it was too extravagant to use the corpse of a divine origin creation realm expert to recover from his injuries. Wang Xian was not that extravagant. I'll absorb all of these treasures. If the Tai Chi Dragon Plate can help me break through, then I'll absorb the energy from this corpse. Wang Xian calculated in his heart and looked forward to it. If he could really break through, it would be a huge boost to his strength. However, he wasn't 100% sure. The resources within the corpses were a huge surprise to Wang Xian. He sat cross-legged on the bed and continued to heal his injuries. With some of the resources from the Qilin Bull, Wang Xian could shorten the recovery time significantly. Time passed day by day. Tianci would come to his place to sleep every night. The progenitor tree kept splitting some of its energy to nurture the Heaven Origin Fortune Supreme Treasure in his body, establishing a connection with it. Occasionally, Wang Xian would play with Tianci for a while. In the blink of an eye, another half a year had passed. Woo 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 woo! Woo 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 woo! On this day, Wang Xian was still recovering from his injuries. Suddenly, the sound of crying came from the side, causing him to open his eyes slightly. Wang Xian opened his eyes and looked at Tianci at the side. When he saw Tianci choking and crying, Wang Xian revealed a smile. Tianci, what happened? Wang Xian asked curiously. Uncle, I'm too stupid. When Tianci saw Wang Xian, she could not help but hug him and continue crying. Stupid? How can that be? Tianci, you are very smart and powerful. How can you be stupid? Wang Xian patted his head and comforted him with a smile. I'm just very stupid. Grandpa also said that I'm very stupid. He said that other children only need a few days to reach the entry level, but I used a few months to reach the entry level. He said that I'm destined to be a weakling in the future, and that I'm destined to be a grain of sand in the upcoming crisis. Tianci lifted his head and spoke to Wang Xian with an aggrieved look. Entry level? Wang Xian was taken aback when he heard him. He sensed Tianci's body. He could sense that there was water attribute energy in Tianci's body. This water attribute energy was very weak and had not even reached the level of a deity. To the children of top-notch experts, the entry level was at the level of a deity who had ignited the divine fire. In the Mealy tribe, some talented children could enter the entry level in a few days. But Tianci needed a few months to reach the entry level from the beginning. To some experts, this talent was too trashy. This is funny. Wang Xian looked at Tianci and found it a little funny when he heard the aggrieved words coming out of his mouth. The Mealy tribe had a heaven yuan creation treasure with wood attribute in its body, which allowed it to absorb water attribute energy. Naturally, it was much slower. Especially when this heaven yuan creation treasure with wood attribute was just starting to be born. If one were to say that the cultivation speed of a person who shared the same origin as the heaven yuan creation treasure was slow, then no one in the world would be faster than him. It could be said that Tianci's starting point was the endpoint that billions of living beings could not reach. In fact, Tianci's starting point was something that even heaven yuan creation realm experts were envious of. Even if he did not cultivate, the wood attribute heaven yuan creation treasure in his body could absorb energy and grow to a terrifying level. At this level, even a beginner heaven yuan creation realm expert would not be a match for him. It's a pity that Tianci has chosen the wrong path, Wang Xian thought to himself. However, he could not blame Tianci's grandfather for this. The Six Paths universe was different from the Nine Origins universe. In the Six Paths universe, babies could cultivate any attribute after they were born. Of course, under normal circumstances, it would be best for them to cultivate the attribute that their parents cultivated. This way, their talents would be better. As for others, for example, some people could not cultivate the fire attribute or water attribute. There were no such cases. Tianci's grandfather was at the Universe Lord realm, but the Heaven Yuan creation treasure was not something he could understand. Moreover, this Heaven Yuan creation treasure had just been born, and it was instinctively concealing itself. If one was not a Heaven Yuan creation treasure, it would be difficult to discover the condition of its body. This was why people said that Tianci's talents were very, very poor, and it would be difficult for him to achieve anything in his life. I can't let him walk the wrong path. Wang Xian looked at Tianci and caressed his head. Tianci, you are not stupid at all. You were born to stand at the peak of all living beings. Your future will be something that no one can imagine, and your grandfather will never be able to reach. As he spoke, he looked at Tianci and asked, Do you understand? Uncle, I understand a little. Am I really not stupid? Tianci looked at Wang Xian and asked with anticipation. That's for sure. The water attribute that your grandfather taught you is not suitable for you. I'll teach you the wood attribute cultivation method, Wang Xian said to Tianci. The wood attribute cultivation method? Tianci looked at Wang Xian with doubt. Yes, it's similar to the water attribute cultivation method. I'll teach you the basics, and you can try again. As Wang Xian spoke to Tianci, a stream of information entered his mind. Chapter 41:17 The cultivation method of the wood attribute entered Tianci's mind. Tianci looked at Wang Xian with doubts on his face. Wang Xian gestured to him with a smile and Tianci sat down with his legs crossed. After which, he began his cultivation. Tianci was already 7 to 8 months old. If it was on Earth, he would have the IQ of an 8 to 9-year-old child. In fact, the knowledge he possessed was much more than that of an 8-year-old child on Earth. Tianci sat down with his legs crossed. When he activated the cultivation method of the wood attribute, waves of energy immediately surged into his body. Even though this was a water source, the wood attribute was relatively sparse. But the speed of his absorption was still very fast. 1. Soon, the energy in his body vibrated slightly and easily entered the level of a deity. Tianci opened his eyes immediately and looked at Wang Xian in disbelief. 1. At this time, Wang Xian felt the Heaven Yuan creation treasure in Tianci's body vibrating slightly. Wang Xian squinted his eyes. When Tianci first started his cultivation, he realized that the Heaven Yuan creation treasure had begun to grow. From a sprout, it grew to the size of a finger. Wang Xian fell into deep thought when he saw this change. Uncle, why is my cultivation so fast? I feel that the wood attribute energy in my body has surpassed the water attribute. Moreover, I feel that there's a small tree in my body. Tianci asked Wang Xian with his eyes wide open. I told you were born extraordinary. You are naturally suited to cultivating the wood attribute. Furthermore, there is a treasure inside your body. If this treasure is exposed, it will bring you, your mother, your grandfather, and even the entire Muley tribe a great disaster. Before you are strong enough, don't expose it and don't use the wood attribute. I will use a method to seal and hide your wood attribute energy. From now on, you will come here every day to cultivate the wood attribute. Wang Xian instructed Tianci. I'll listen to you. I feel that you're the best apart from my mother. Tianci opened his mouth and nodded his head heavily. All right. Tianci, don't be anxious. In at most 1 to 2 years, you will be invincible in this universe. Wang Xian said to him with a smile. Invincible? Tianci couldn't believe it. Wang Xian did not explain too much to him and patted his head. There are some things that I can't tell you right now, but you have to know that you were born extraordinary, and no one can compare to you. For now you need to hide. You need to hide for 1 or 200 million years. During these 1 or 200 million years, keep a low profile and endure. During this time, you cannot use wood attribute energy and do not tell anyone. If you have any grudges, remember them in your heart. After 100 or 200 million years, they will all crawl at your feet. Wang Xian guided him. Tianci kept nodding his head. From the moment he was born, Wang Xian had given him a sense of closeness. Sometimes, this feeling was even stronger than that of a mother. He believed in Wang Xian. All right, from now on, you should live a normal life and cultivate. It doesn't matter if your water attribute cultivation isn't good, or if others say that your talent is poor. Don't take it to heart. If you have any grievances, you can come to me at night and tell me. Wang Xian continued speaking to Tianci. Yes, uncle. Tianci nodded. All right, continue cultivating the wood attribute. When you leave, I will seal your wood attribute, Wang Xian said to Tianci. In the following days, every time Tianci returned, he would cultivate the wood attribute beside Wang Xian. How fast could a child who had the creation treasure of Heaven Yuan in his body cultivate? His strength was growing rapidly every day. As he cultivated, the heavenly origin fortune supreme treasure in his body grew at a much faster rate. However, from time to time, Tianci would complain to his grandfather about his poor talent. Even his teacher who taught him said that he was not talented. Only his mother would not say that about him. Wang Xian smiled and consoled him. He asked him to display his wood attribute energy and regain his confidence. Under his guidance, Tianci might be unhappy outside, but he soon got over it. 2 years later, in the room where Wang Xian was, a faint wave of wood attribute energy surged forward and was stopped by Wang Xian. Uncle, I broke through. This is great. This is great! Soon, Tianxi's excited voice was heard from the room. In 7 years, Tianxi had broken through to the undying God-King level from a beginner in cultivation. In 7 years, he had surpassed the eternal God-Lord level. Such a cultivation speed would cause a stir in the entire Six Paths universe if it was known. But now, no one knew. Wang Xian would not let anyone know. This was the terrifying speed of a cultivator who possessed the creation treasure of heaven Yuan Yuan. Even Wang Xian could not help but be amazed and envious. Born extraordinary. Faster than I imagined. Wang Xian smiled. If mother knew, she would be even happier, Tianxi said. But uncle, I know I can't tell mother. Now that my strength has improved and my physical quality has improved, my water attribute cultivation is comparable to the other geniuses of our Muley tribe. Mother and grandfather are already very happy. With the improvement of Tianxi's strength, his physical fitness and energy sensitivity had also improved. Although his talent in cultivating the water element was still trash, he had a high-quality body. A child of the same age as him was still in the deity spirit realm, while he had already stepped into the deity king realm. What did this mean? They were not on the same level. Even if his water attribute talent was rubbish, with the support of his strong physical fitness, he was comparable to the top-notch geniuses in the Muley tribe. This had also made Tianxi's mother and grandfather happy for a long time about Tianxi's enlightenment. You can't be arrogant. No matter how talented you are, you must have a humble heart. Before you grow up, you will always be a weakling. Especially you, Tianxi. You are special and you can't expose it. Wang Xian reminded and guided him again. Uncle, is it because of the small tree in my body? 7 years had passed, and Tianxi had learned more. He looked at Wang Xian and understood some of the principles. Yes, if this were to be leaked, even the leader of the Muley tribe might lay a hand on you. This is also the reason why I didn't let you tell your mother, Wang Xian repeated. I know, uncle. You have told me many times and I have always remembered it. Tianxi nodded his head and looked at Wang Xian. Uncle, I heard from my mother that she met an injured uncle when she was about to give birth to me. Is it because she saved you that uncle didn't take away the treasure in my body? Yes, if not for this reason, I would have taken away the treasure in your body. If I took away the treasure, you would be dead. Wang Xian smiled and nodded his head at him. Uncle, you are the best to me. I don't believe you would hurt me. Tianxi hugged Wang Xian's arm and smiled. 7 years had passed, and he was already 1 meter tall. However, to Wang Xian, he was still a child. Chapter 41:18. Other than some special questions, Wang Xian didn't hide much from Tianxi. Although Tianxi was young, he understood many principles. Wang Xian looked at Tianxi beside him with a smile. He moved his palm and sensed the creation treasure of heaven Yuan in his body. At this moment, Wang Xian realized that the creation treasure of heaven Yuan in his body had improved significantly again. The sprout that was the size of a finger was now the size of a palm with a few branches growing on it. The trunk of the decimal tree. The branches that had grown out of it. A few of the branches contained a huge amount of pure wood attribute energy. Under Wang Xian's senses, he discovered that the 3 branches contained unique energy fluctuations. This was derived from the wood attribute. Tianxi, the little tree in your body has split into 3 branches. These 3 branches all have special abilities. Try to sense these special abilities, Wang Xian said to Tianxi. Yes, uncle. Tianxi nodded. Then, he sensed that his body was exuding a strong wood attribute aura. Wang. In the next instant, the illusory shadow of the branches appeared on his arm. After 3 consecutive attempts, Wang Xian sensed from the side. Uncle, there are 2 attacking branches and 1 concealing aura. Concealing aura can not only conceal oneself but also the aura of others, Tianxi answered quickly. Wang Xian nodded and his eyes sparkled. The aura concealment ability was a manifestation of the heavenly origin fortune treasure's aura concealment ability. In the past, it was passive. Now, it could actively conceal itself. Moreover, this concealing ability was even stronger than the one Wang Xian had on him. Under Tianxi's concealing ability, unless a creation treasure of Heaven Yuan expert came within a few dozen meters of him and sized him up, he wouldn't be able to discover his condition. He wouldn't be able to discover the wood attribute in his body either. This concealing ability was extremely powerful. As for the other two attacking branches, they were also very strong. It could be said that Tianxi, who had just stepped into the Immortal King realm, could use these two branches to fight against an Immortal King pinnacle existence. This was the terror of the creation treasure of Heaven Yuan. In the future, after I seal the wood attribute energy in your body, conceal yourself again, Wang Xian said to Tianxi. Yes, uncle. Tianxi nodded obediently. All right, you just broke through today. Have a good rest, said Wang Xian as he patted Tianxi's head. Tianxi giggled and nodded. In the remaining time, Wang Xian continued to recover from his injuries. The Tai Chi Dragon Plate was also constantly absorbing the dark energy, striving to complete its breakthrough. Time passed day by day. More than 90 years passed in the blink of an eye, and it had been a full 100 years since Tianxi was born. Uncle, it's my birthday tonight. I'll be at home. Come over and have dinner with us. In the afternoon, Tianxi ran in and shouted at Wang Xian loudly. Wang Xian opened his eyes and looked at the figure before him. After 100 years, Tianxi was now about 1.6 meters tall. In the Muley tribe, he was still a small boy. Although Tianxi wasn't tall, he had been groomed by the wood and water elemental attributes. His body exuded a noble aura. This aura was cultivated by Wang Xian. As the owner of a heavenly yuan creation treasure, Wang Xian had always reminded him of one thing. One must be humble, but the arrogance and lofty character in one's heart must be above everyone else. I, Tianxi, am not weaker than anyone. Not weaker than anyone. This was the concept that Wang Xian had instilled in him. This also made Tianxi exude confidence. Similarly, keeping a low profile and being introverted was also a must. Oh? Are you celebrating your birthday? Wang Xian looked at Tianxi and revealed a faint smile. Yes, uncle. After my first birthday, I'll have to study in the Muley tribe's college. I'll have to leave my parents and home. Tianxi nodded his head and said to Wang Xian. In the Muley tribe, children had to leave home after reaching 100 years old and enter the Muley tribe's college to study. Uncle, I don't want to leave you and my mother. Moreover, with my current strength, I don't need to study in the college. Uncle, you can teach me whatever I don't know. Tianxi walked to Wang Xian and said, You have to have your own complete life. I can't interfere too much with you. You have to learn on your own, get to know other people, and have your own friends. Wang Xian said to Tianxi. Tianxi opened his mouth and lowered his head. I don't want friends. Others say I don't have a father and I'm a bastard. Huh! Upon hearing this, Wang Xian raised his eyebrows. You can just beat someone like him. Challenge him directly and defeat him. He won't dare to say anything. Moreover, he's not a friend. Tianxi, you have to know that no one is qualified to be your father. Don't be sad because of this. Wang Xian knew that Tianxi didn't have a father from the start. Initially, he thought it was because Muri Yiner's man had abandoned him. Later on, he got a piece of news from the maidservant. Tianxi didn't know who his father was. Even Muri Yiner didn't know who her man was. Muri Yiner wasn't very old. She used to be the prettiest and most outstanding girl in the Muley tribe. However, one day, Muri Yiner got pregnant. Muri Yiner didn't know who her father was either. She got pregnant just like that. Initially, Muri Yiner's parents thought she was hiding this man from them. Later on, they found out that their daughter didn't know how she got pregnant either. However, a woman's pregnancy couldn't just happen out of thin air. Therefore, Muri Yiner's father suspected that an expert might have sex with Muri Yiner through powerful means. So Muri Yiner didn't find out. Or perhaps he had erased this part of her memory. Muri Yiner's father and elders were furious that their daughter was humiliated and pregnant. They wanted Muri Yiner to abort her child. However, Muri Yiner couldn't bear it, and forced herself to give birth. The news of Murray Ina's pregnancy and childbirth caused a huge sensation in the entire Murray tribe. They thought she was an unclean woman and Tianzi was also a bastard. Until now, Tianzi wasn't qualified to have the surname Muley. Murray Ina's relatives suspected so. The people of the Muley tribe also thought so. However, Wang Xian sensed Murray Ina and made a judgment in his heart. Murray Ina wasn't humiliated. She got pregnant because of the birth of Tianzi. In other words, Tianzi was born in her body. Tianzi, just like his name, was a gift from the heavens. Without a father, the essence of heaven and earth was born in Murray Ina's womb. You're tuning into the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.